everybody, welcome back to the channel. Y'all, we gotta talk. Oh, that's never a good sign, is it? Yeah, okay, we gotta talk, y'all. I've posted several times alluding to the fact that our brain and our minds are separate, y'all. They're mutually exclusive. They're two entities. You know, our brain is a wondrous entity in itself. You know, it keeps us rolling. It's so can be very efficient and all of that. But our brain is subject to programming. Our brain is like a crystal. It's or a computer. You know, it's only as fat and serviceable. It's only as useful as the input that it has. And frankly, a lot of the input that our brains have from conditioning and from programming is dysfunctional. You know, it's dysfunctional. Let me just leave it like that. Y'all, your mind can overcome your brain function through your will. That's why they call it willpower. It's willpower. That's where we get all of our powers, through our will, is through our forward thinking, our own creative thinking, not tapping into the brain who's on loop from programming. Brain's very closely associated with what? Your ego. Your ego is the one that's always going to go from past experience. The ego is not a growing entity except in that, I mean, it's not an organically learning function. It only absorbs programming, experience, and then it tells you what to do based on past experience, where, you know, that's not actually useful in new experiences, in new things that you go through, in new situations that come up for you. To constantly go on loop from that old programming, it doesn't get you anywhere whatsoever. Y'all can think your way out of pretty much anything. I'm telling you from experience. I've done it. I'm going to tell you a very quick story, and maybe this will make it clear for you. I was stuck in the house for years, y'all. I had a big stroke. I opted at the time, because I was in such bad shape when it happened. I was at the house. I opted to stay at home because I really just thought it was over. You know, I spent a couple of weeks after I kind of came back to a little bit. I didn't have a lot of body function, just enough. I'm very grateful that I didn't lose a lot of key elements, you know, like a lot of stroke victims do. But I was busted down to what I considered nothing, you know, and the one person I had in my environment basically felt the same way. So we just went to, you know, I sent off beautiful treasures. I was very convinced that it was over. So fast forward a couple of years, after being in the house for many years, trying to recover from this thing on my own, doing my own little, you know, everything I did in a day was my physical therapy, because that was all I could do. And there was a time when I lost my caregiver. I lost my person, you know, and it was the only person I had actually had contact with in all of those years. No phone calls, no visitors. I had no capacity for input from the outside world. Let's put it like that. And in that year that I was alone, you know, I was a tick-tock situation. I knew I was going to run out of savings. I knew I was going to have to leave my home. I calculated how much time I would have to try and rehab myself enough to get out of the house, you know, without looking like I needed to go to a facility. That was my last thing I wanted to do, right? So my ass was working hard, let's just put it like that. And I was trying so hard to force myself out of the house, you know, against a lot of fears, a lot of rationality. But when I finally started doing it, I was having these panic situations, which I didn't know what it was. All I knew was I went from doing this thing to not doing it, and then being stuck outside and not knowing how I was going to get back to the house, and it really affected me physically. And I recounted this story to a friend of mine who was out of state. she sent me a message on, I guess it was Messenger. It was probably Messenger. And I was finally able to use the phone at that point. Not talk on the phone, just use the screen. And I told her what was going on with me. And she said, oh, that's just a panic attack. You know, and here I thought I had some major physical affliction, which it certainly felt like it to me. It certainly felt like that I was going down in flames. And it actually physically affected me like that. And I never really bought that whole story of panic attack. You know, and she said, she had been a nurse, and she told me that, oh yeah, they can prescribe you something for that, so it'll make it easier to go out, and you'll be able to go out and you won't have that experience. And after I got done, you know, on this little visit with her, I really got to thinking about this, and I thought, why would I need to take a drug? Why would I need to do that if this isn't actually a physical affliction from the inception? If this is from here, if I'm just going out and breaking down because I'm afraid to be out there, I could think my way out of that. Only I would think that, you know, I swear to God. But y'all, it worked. It worked, and that's where I started realizing the subtle nuances, which are not now so subtle to me. The subtle, nuancial, subtle differences between my brain function and my mind function. And my mind function with my willpower, that combo was enabling me to overcome so much loopy programming that my brain was holding over me, telling me that I can't do this, I can't do that, well, you have this condition, so you can't do that. Which is also connected to ego, because your ego is going to be the first one to step in and try and stop you from something. Ooh, what if that happens? Oh, ooh, but remember that time? Ooh, but remember what they told you about this? That's what your ego can do for you, you know? So I really grappled with this whole concept. I mean, it was just amazing to me, and I started working with myself. I started telling myself what to do. I started using my mind and my willpower to overcome what my brain was trying to tell me was truth. Yeah, it took a while, y'all. I'm not gonna lie to you. It took a while to do it that way, but I thought to myself, if I cannot get hooked on a drug at this stage of the game, I'll probably fare a little bit better, because the last thing I needed at that point was one more thing to, you know, jump over. Y'all, I've really exercised this concept in my world and changed my life. You know, I quit smoking. It was no big deal. I quit drinking. I was drinking, you know, my whole life. I drank my whole adult life. And I'm not saying having a couple of drinks is a bad thing, but when you're in a situation where your health is at the stage of my health or anybody's, if you have any kind of compromised situation, the one thing you want to do is eliminate everything that can compound that situation, right? Especially if you actually want to get better. And for me, it was the fight of my life, because I knew if I didn't start saving myself by the tick-tock time that my money ran out, somebody was gonna come and get me, girls. They were going to come and take me away. Hey, you know, do something with me. That's what I figured, you know, that I was going to have to be cared for in another capacity. And you know, as a Sagittarian, or as just who I am, you know, my freedom is king. My freedom is queen. So I was working hard, y'all, but I found that little trick, and it is just amazing, you know, and I'm telling you, you've heard the term mind over matter. Well, that's what they're talking about. They're not talking about bending spoons with your powers of perception. They're talking about your mind controlling your brain matter. No, what a concept. What a concept. What a powerful, powerful concept. And we all have access to it. We all have it. We all have will. And our wills can work in tandem with our minds to overcome anything that the brain is trying to tell us is truth, if it's contrary to our directive. Getting better or doing something that you need to do. For me, at one point, it was dragging myself up 17 stairs and down 17 stairs every day when I wasn't perceptively able to even do a couple of stairs. No, it wasn't really easy, but it was a lot easier than you'd think. It was a whole lot easier than you'd think. All of those little things I did for myself, it was so much easier than you'd think. And it put me in a very, very powerful position in my life because it made me feel like the things that I've been telling other people. You don't have to go outside yourself for all of these things. You can do it for yourself. Well, you really can. I've lived it. Y'all, I'm here for you, okay? If you ever have a question for me, if you ever want to talk about something like this, just put it in the comments. I'll answer your questions. I'll be there for you. If you want some guidance in trying to quit a habit or whatever you got going on, if you want more information on this, I'll try to make something available for you in your situation. But the bottom line is you can do it. You can do it. You got it. You've got willpower. It's a big, awesome responsibility, but when you really grasp what you can do in your world with it, holy crap, y'all. Holy crap. So when I say we're magnificent creatures, that's the part I'm talking about. That's the part I'm talking about. You can pretty much think your way out of or in of any single thing that you want. Use that willpower that you've got. Make up your mind. And I know my friends that ask me, oh, you quit smoking? Really? How did you do that? Was it hard? It took a while. But the bottom line is when I answer them, I just say I made up my mind. And I know they want to slap me for that because it seems so, it seems so cheeky. Hey, don't do that. Don't bring it. You can't buy it. She has this fascination, the little one has this fascination with, the minute I fill up the cat bowls, they're on a little they're on like a little raise, so that's better for their digestion. She just likes to pull them off. I'm telling you, water everywhere, crunchies everywhere. Anyway, y'all, thank you so much for being here. I hope this message got in for you because this is an amazing thing. This is an amazing concept, and I'm going to drill down, I'm going to double down on this channel about this situation because the mind can overtake the brain. And your brain has got a lot of programming, I've got a lot of rogue notions that really don't serve us. And the number one is we are not mere humans via this faculty, considering the fact that we can pretty much override any of the program that we've been given. Okay? Alright. Thanks again for being here, y'all. I'm sending you my very best. This is who is this one? This is my little bit. This is Heavy D. All of my cats have a musician's handle. She's Heavy D. Her real name is India. India Ari Heavy D. Okay, I don't know. But it's true. That's her name. But thanks again for being here. Y'all, I hope you're doing all right. I hope you will take heart to what I've said. And be nice to yourself. Be nice to yourself because you're a badass. You are. Okay? So get out, wiggle off that hook of victimhood because you got it. Whatever you need to do, you can do it. You've got it. You've got a mind and you've got a will. Use that power that you've got. Okay? All right, I will see you soon for a Grace card reading. Thanks again, and take care of yourselves.